Hey, what's up YouTube? In this video I'm going to be throwing 10 throwing spikes into a relatively small target using no spin throwing. You are at the We All Juggle Knives channel, by the way. Welcome one and all, making a rebar porcupine today. So I made those throwing spikes myself by modifying rebar tent stakes. I cut off the hook of metal on the end of the tent stakes using my Dremel. And then I made the points of the stakes even more pointed using my work sharp. There's a look at one of the stakes. All right, we're going to start off with, this is the warm-up. We're going to start off with one spike. Now, as far as how to throw a spike, well, what I do is I take my pointer finger and I put it at an angle down the length of the spike. And I use that pointer finger to kind of steer the spike, to aim it, as it were. Right, and your wrist kind of bends backwards when you chamber to throw it, and then there's a follow through, and my follow through is kind of diagonal, right? And as you throw it, you know, your wrist does bend, but you don't want to bend your wrist too far forward, or you would end up just throwing it into the ground, right? So yeah, you gotta, wrist position is very important. And you also just got to try to be smooth. You got to try to not rush it. All right, and mainly it just takes repetition and practice. One thing you should know, if you throw anything at a target, there is always a chance that your knife or spike can rebound and hit you. Right, so you want to be very careful. Safety first. Ideally, you would have an instructor to supervise you. Right, and consider using safety equipment as well. All right, we're going to go up to 3 spikes now, leading up to eventually 10 spikes, and we're going to make a rebar porcupine out of that stump. All right, now in the text description box underneath this video, I'm going to include a lot of helpful links for people that want to get into throwing, including the links to the rebar tent stakes that I used to make the spikes, and some equipment. Like I said, I use a Dremel 4000 and a work sharp handheld grinder. Right, and I will also include links to some good throwing knives, like some budget ones, and then some higher quality ones, as well as a lot of tomahawks, because I actually got started in throwing by throwing tomahawks. So I will include all of my favorite tomahawks. Okay, now we got 5 spikes. All right, we're moving on up to the 10. All right, here we go with 10 spikes. Yes, a lot of heavy metal going to fly. It's hard because the spikes, they tend to hit each other. It's a crowded target. All right, this is the last one. I managed to do it 4 times. Hope you're enjoying this video. And there you go. All right, here is just some throwing with this. It's a dive knife that I've actually had for like 15 years. And as you can see, it's just very pointed, and it's a very shankalicious blade. I figured it would just be fun to try to throw this. It is double-edged, so I cannot use my regular grip with my finger down the spine because it has two edges. So I'm actually holding it the way that I would hold a knife for like single rotation throwing. This thing is pointed as all hell. It's a little bit tip heavy though for this kind of throwing. But it was very fun to throw, and because it's kind of light, I can throw it harder. You know what I mean? So it's just more satisfying to like frickin' wing this thing at it. But I just thought it'd be fun to try to throw it. Bam. Now whenever I do one of these videos, I always get one or two questions about back exercises. Well, I really like doing pull-ups, so I would recommend starting with pull-ups. The pull-ups are going to help your shoulders, your trapezius muscles, your lats. So try out some push-ups, some pull-ups, you know, military type calisthenics, and you can also do some rows. Alright, this is the last throw. And there you go. Alright, I hope you enjoyed the video. Consider subscribing if you like crazy stuff like this. I also do knife reviews, multi-tool reviews, flashlight reviews, and I do fitness and nutrition videos. I used to be fat as fuck, and now I am not. Alright, and check out the text description box. I will include lots of useful links for people who want to get into throwing knives, tomahawks, and supplies to make your own spikes. Now you see that longer knife in the middle there, I actually made that myself from a barbecue skewer, so I'm going to be throwing that in a future video. This has been We All Juggle Knives. I'm out.